All right, welcome everyone. John here, software engineer with 10 years of experience. In front of us is ariastale.com. This is an open source website, and this is what we'll be working on today. Aria's Tale is an AI TTRPG. So it's kind of like Baldur's Gate, but it's like social first. So you play by comment. Just to give you a flavor of what that means, we'll go over here to TikTok. And the pinned video is the most recent turn. So you would click on the pinned video and then you could play by comment. So you would click on the video and it would tell you like what's going on currently, like previously in Lunara's arc. You can see the text, gives you a quick summary of what's going on. And then it says, hey, community, it's your turn to make a move. Whatever move is made by comment will be fed into a large language model, like maybe a Claude or a GPT-4. And that's where the AI part comes in, AI TTRPG. And it will interpret the move and then produce the result, and you get a narrative cycle that way. You can also do live campaign sessions. I'll be having a live campaign session this afternoon with some players in a different arc. So there are multiple narrative arcs. If you go to game manual and narrative, you can see the various arcs. So the one being played on TikTok is Arc Lunara. The one having a live session this afternoon is Arc Aria. So tune in. We may or may not stream it, but in case we stream it, tune in and follow the page. Okay, so what are we doing in this stream? We are trying to enable purchasing trading cards. So if you go to the gallery, let's just see a random image. So we have these images, which are also AI produced. So part of the narrative, like these are all associated to bits of the narrative. So you can see this reference right here. Alara revives Tank after his death. So this is part of Arc Aria. Alara is a healer. Tank is a tank. Well named, right? And he actually gets killed and then revived. So originally this was just like a pretty picture that was created as a side effect of using a multimodal LLM with the narrative. It's like, hey, let's make pictures out of this. And you can see it's following a stained glass style. So actually you can do an art roll. That's somewhere this TTRPG flavor is coming in. Again, you can roll and re-roll art. And the way it works is it will give you draw an excerpt from Caleb's Arc Chapter 1. So it gives you a narrative reference, and then it gives you the art style. You could use expressionism. You could use abstract. You could use, let's see, what else do we have? Pop-up book art. Okay, so you might copy this on your clipboard and go paste it into your GPT-4, your DALL-E, whatever you have to generate images. The other one, Midjourney. Midjourney is very popular. And that is how you can produce images like this. Here's another one. So that's how these images were originally created. Now I would like to turn them into trading cards so that you can actually play. In addition to having this RPG form of Aria's Tale, you can do like an Aria's Tale TCG. That's the idea. And there are also card backs. I don't know if they are shown anywhere on the site today, but there are card backs. And the idea is you can have like a front and a back and make a deck, right? And play a game. Okay. So I would like you to be able to buy the cards. That's what we're doing today. You pay like, I don't know, 50 cents or a quarter or $1 or something, and you can buy a card. So how are we going to approach this in today's stream? First, I will just be purchasing SHAs. I will just be purchasing UUIDs, and those will be tokens, unique tokens. And those in the future, those unique tokens will be able to be mapped to a card. It's like randomly drawing a card. Does that make sense? So that's the idea. So even though the idea is that we're going to purchase cards, we won't be doing all of that today. That's a lot of work. What we're going to try to do today is get a UUID bound to a player account. So I'm going to try to use Stripe to like send a quarter and get a UUID back. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, welcome in. Thanks for joining. So with that background, Let's now get into some code. So here's VS Code. Let's see, can you see this? Am I only sharing Chrome? Let me see. I need to make sure I'm actually sharing the window, not just Chrome. What do I do one of those? Nope. I want to share the whole window. Oh, okay. No, I want to share the entire screen. So the term window is tripping me up. So now, boop, you can see my actual screen. And now you can see VS Code. Yay. So this is the prod website. Let's go over to localhost. Here's localhost. All right. So here on localhost, I'll sign in. I'll sign in with Google. You can also choose Discord if you want. So now I'm signed in. You can now see the secret message that confirms we're signed in. All right. And what I want to be able to do now is like buy a card, basically. So let's go to, well, maybe account. I'll just make a new button that says buy a card. We can always change it later. So to do this, we're in Aria's tail, source pages. Come over here. Let me maximize this. And here's the custom page component. That's the footer down there. There's the main, and here's the top nav. I think this is the component we're looking for. So right now it says home, game manual. I guess it's in alphabetical order, huh? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then account is at the far right. Yeah, so the idea is that account is at the far right, home is at the far left, and the remainder is in alphabetical order. So if we want to make a store, it would go right here. Okay. We'll make this a href store. Get rid of the target blank so it will stay on the same screen. And now I can see the store link up at the top, but it points to a page that doesn't exist. Okay, so let's make the page. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. We're streaming to TikTok, YouTube, and some other places. So if you're on TikTok and you can't see the full screen, check my bio and you'll be able to see the link to YouTube and Twitch, and those can see the full screen. Let me also make sure I'm watching the Twitch chat. I wasn't paying attention to that. Okay, no comments in the Twitch chat yet. We're good. If you go over to Twitch and if you leave a comment, I will now see it. I'm now paying attention. Okay, great. So here is the home page, and we just want to make a new page. So I'm going over here to the pages directory. There's the gallery. And sure, let's try an index in a store folder. I could make a store.tsx, but I have a feeling that in the future, I might want other store pages. So I'm doing a bit of future proofing by choosing this pattern. Okay. And initially, I'm just going to copy the home page over, and then we will edit it as needed. So how do we need to edit this thing? The first thing is we want to change the name of the function to store page. Okay. It should have awareness of the authenticated state. So we do want to bring in sign in, sign out, use session. Maybe not the sign in or sign out. We don't really need those. But I will want use session because I want to be aware about whether you're logged in. So where is sign in being used? It's used over here. This is the big sign in, sign out button. So we don't need that on the store page. Yeah, and so we can basically do something like this. Let's handle the logged out case first, because that's going to be easy. It's just going to be like, hey, you need to log in. It does beg a good question. Should I kick them back to the home page, or should I just let them log in on this page? All right, fine. I'll let you log in on this page. So the way this is working is that the button shows regardless and the content of the button is swapped depending on session data. I don't want that. I want the button to not be apparent at all if you are logged in. So session data and I don't need a secret message over here. Basically, I can use this upper paragraph. Okay, so session data and you get a paragraph. You are logged in. Nice. In the future, you can buy a card here. Okay, and then this bit I don't need. Or bring up a login if they arrive and are not logged in. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. Hey, Robert, long time. So I'm doing like a low lift version of that. But yeah, the basic idea is if you're not logged in, let them log in instead of forcing them to go to somewhere else to log in. This, in theory, there could be a reusable component here because maybe there's like different pages where I want this feature to exist, but I'm going to deal with that later. For now, I'm just going to do exactly what I want, no more, no less. Okay, so you're logged in. Nice. In the future, you can buy a card here. I should be able to see that right now, but I'm also going to see this button that I don't want. So let's get rid of this. The way that this works is if there is not session data. That's the only case where I want to see it. Okay, so if there's not session data, then there is a button. All right, if the button does show, it always includes sign in or join now, and it always invokes sign in. It doesn't have a ternary invocation. And it's going to want me to specify void. That's fine. Okay, good. Auth showcase. I'd rather call this something else. Oh, so the auth showcase is embedded in the broader page. Okay, so it kind of is a reusable component already, eh? But it's not reusable because it looks different than the other auth showcase. The other auth showcase will toggle the button state. I don't want to do that. So it's a little bit different. So this is like auth showcase. It's not a showcase. It's just login if needed. Auth. Auth button if needed. All right, chat. Let me know if you have a better name. I'm going to call it auth button if needed. And I'm very happy to change it because I'm not super crazy about that name either. But it's the auth button if needed. And right, so then let's even bring the session data up a level so that the whole thing might return null. And I do prefer to use a null return with a ternary instead of the undefined thing, because sometimes you get a value which is like 0 and it renders a literal 0, which I don't like. So in this case, where does the parenthesis end? We want that parenthesis to go all the way down to the end of the div, otherwise null. Let's see, I might have done this a level off. So the open bracket is right, the return bracket is right, and then this bracket, where's my third? 1, 2, 3, this is the third. Let's see, I'm not quite sure what they're mad about. Let me cut out the interior so that we only have this div. Maybe it'll become more apparent to me. So if we have session data, then we're going to do this div. It's because I don't want this brace. That's the reason. If we have session data, we're going to do this div. That's what it was. We just didn't need the brace there. Good deal. So here's the auth button if needed, and I might bring this use session out of the component, but we'll do that later if needed, because I might need the authenticated state for the remainder of the store page. I think I will. Okay, so at this point, we can test our basic page. So let's go look at what it looks like. So here I am, I'm on the home page, and I'm going to the store page. You're logged in. Nice. In the future, you can buy a card here. So this is showing that our page is working, basically. I want to change the content quite a bit. It doesn't really look like a store page, right? It has the same heading as the home page does. Maybe I would get rid of this altogether. I really like the dice. Don't you love those? You gotta love those dice. So maybe I will remove this and just change this sort of title here to look like a store, and then I can make that text larger. I think that's what I want to do. Nope, it's going to have the main heading on the custom page right here. That's a little bit of a bummer because I like the dice, dude. Like, I just like them. Maybe I should move the dice into... So let's say that this just says store. And then what would this be? A subheading. Maybe it says purchase Arya's Tale TCG cards. Okay, so we have a usage for it. Does this custom page have anything like a subheading? Cool. So I will add the subheading here. Let me go ahead and commit where I am so far. So where I am so far is a knit store page. Okay. Push that up. So see how I'm duplicating the usage of this die? Perhaps 4 times, although technically the class name is different between these two. So I could, but at a minimum, it's twice. So I'm going to push that in to the custom page. Does that make sense? So this is the top of the main content. There's this thing content before title. So if there's any content before the title, we render that. Thanks for sharing the live. Thank you so much. Hey, go ahead and tap the screen if you're liking the video. That will allow the algorithm to send it around to other interested viewers. If you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. So maybe I do want to keep it decoupled for now. If these are the only two people using it, I will make it reusable, but I will make it reusable inside of the content. So let's bring it out like this. I'm going to cut this, and I will call it the subheading with dice. Subheading with dice. Again, I'm always flexible on the name, but my basic heuristic is call it what it is. Just give it a name that describes what it is. Okay, so we go over here to the components, and I'm going to right-click, New File, Subheading with dice.tsx. Paste what I cut. Give it a wrapper, basically, to allow it to be exported. Now here, this bit will just be subheading text. And that is the one prop or argument that we will pass in. A prop is basically a functional argument to a component, to a React component. This will just be subheading text, or it will be a string in TypeScript world. It's a string. Property subheading text does not exist on subheading string. Okay, fine. I don't need to call it text because it's typed, so we can just call it subheading. It's a little bit more terse with no loss of generality because we have the typing system. So we're over here, subheading equals this thing. Now let's import it. Oh, did I not rename the export? Okay, so I'm calling it the wrong thing. This should be called subheading with dice. Need to import the image. Is the image used anywhere else? This is a next image, right? And it's nice because extracting this component is making my homepage smaller, which we love. And now ESLint is happy. When ESLint is happy, we're happy. That's the rule. When ESLint is happy, we're happy. Okay, so I have this subheading with dice. And now I'm expecting the hover quick fix to detect it. There we go. VS Code for the win. I can Control-Shift-P and sort my imports. They're already sorted. That's fine. And all I want to do with this commit is I'm extracting a component. So all I want to do here is a regression test. A regression test once on the home page. Hello from Aria's tail is working fine. Hello from Aria's tail is working fine. Okay, so we regression tested the home page. Now let's implement this on the store page, and we will do a regression test there, and then we will be prepared to commit. So here's our new store page. Oh, I was already on the store page. That just means my regression test was invalid. Dope. That's okay, we'll test it again. So here's the real home page that's actually a home page. Subheading with dice. Here's the hello data greeting. It's the same message. I'll collapse this div. Now I just get to remove this. Bam. Get to remove this import. But I need to bring in this other import. So we're importing the import because that's what we do. So they're pretty similar, right? So here's the auth showcase on the homepage, and then on the store page, it's auth button if needed. It's not the whole showcase because I don't want to see that button unless it's absolutely necessary. And it's necessary in the case where the user's not logged in. And instead of forcing them to go to some other login page, I'm just giving them the opportunity to log in right now. Extract it to another component, a higher order component. We totally could, right? Custom page subheading with dice. That could be its own component. Custom page with subheading with dice. And if you abstract 2 more times, you have a Java project. Isn't that great? It's almost like a Java project. We're not going to do that. Hooray! Love it. Okay. Did we do a regression test? I forgot. So let's just do it one more time. Oh, look. Hello from Aria's Tale. Logged in as John. Great. Now I go to the store page. Hello from Aria's Tale. You're logged in. Nice. Looks good to me. No coffee today, y'all. No coffee, no energy drink. Can you tell? Or is it just me? Subheading with dice. All right. So now we're back on the store and we want to get into Stripe here pretty soon. Okay, so what are we doing? I guess I can just mock Stripe at first and generate the token, and then later I will put Stripe in there. So we have this button that's going to authenticate. Let me just make another button to buy a token, right? Why not? This stuff don't need. This stuff don't need. This stuff don't need. Okay, so we're getting rid of all of these paragraphs. Maybe I'll have one paragraph. Click. Or like pay me $1 to get an Aria's Tale TCG token. Sure. This is all going to be gone in the future, so we'll leave that there temporarily. Pay me $1 to get an Aria's Tale TCG token. Okay. Right, and this is where I only want to show this if you're logged in, because I don't want them to like click the button if they're not logged in. You see the problem? Because then I'll be like taking their $1 and there will be nowhere for the UUID to go. It won't be able to bind an account. So let's lift this session state data up. We don't even need to lift. Do we want to lift it or duplicate it? Either one is going to be fine. Either one is going to be fine. I will duplicate it for the purpose of portability. Maybe in the future, like I don't know that this is true. It's probably over engineering. But maybe in the future, some other view is going to want to have this off button if needed. Although then I should make the text more generic, right? And why do we have a P that only has a span? That doesn't make sense. Let's get rid of that span. We already have the P tag. Okay, so here, I'll put it before, I don't know. I don't know about the ordering of these things. QRS. Yeah, I don't care which order's which. But basically, well, I actually don't, yeah. Part of me wants to remove these session data things and just wrap the whole thing in a session conditional. So here's the logged out text. We'll make it slightly more generic. And maybe I don't want to put it there because it could be nothing. Like you could have nothing. So we'll let it be undefined. Right now, I have not passed the logged out text, so I expect it to just vanish. Unexpected token custom page. Let's see. Not assignable to type string, but it's string or undefined. So you should let me not pass it. Does it need to be in the object? Implicitly has an any type. Oh, sorry, that should be a colon. Are you letting me do the undefined thing or no? Logged out is missing n type. Okay, I think I need to use the question mark instead of saying optional this way. Right, okay, so it's still string or undefined, but like you use the question mark and ESLint chills out. So let's do that. Now it's just gone. But what if I log out? Sign out. And now I go to the store page. Oops, I expect to see it. Where's my button, yo? Is it invisible button? Whoa, tiny. It's in mobile. I guess I was doing something mobile recently. Go to regular. Okay. Why are you not letting me pick my stuff? All right, let me bind it back to the view. It's like losing the window reference or something. Where's that little button? Here it is. Okay. Okay. So there's just not a button at all, is there? Yep, there's just not a button at all. Okay. If there's not session data, yeah, this is bad. That's the problem. Logged out text. If there's not session data. Oop. Whoa, is it automatically clicking it or something? Window is not defined. I'm going to stop my server and restart it. Who is complaining about window? Let's see. Render with hooks inside of React DOM server. Make sure to tap like on the video if you're enjoying it. Yeah, it is sending me to this page like rapidly for some reason. Okay, let me offload what's on my clipboard. And now we can look at the difference here and try to figure out what's going on. I don't expect it's because of all those removed paragraph tags. So all we have is the removed paragraph tags and 2 comments. Now it's true, we were viewing this page logged in previously. I'm going to go ahead and try reverting this portion. Oh, sign in. Yes, sign in is running somehow. Okay, that's what's going on. This should be a function because it should be lazily invoked. As soon as the thing is parsing, it's immediately being invoked. It should be invoked on click, not invoked at render time. I think that's the issue. Cool. Okay, so it's not forwarding us now. So it says sign in or join now. It's in quotes. I don't really want that. Okay, sign in or join now. And this big heading up top, I didn't really want that either. So this will, okay, I guess I never updated it. So this will just say like store. Arya's Tale store. Okay, Arya's Tale store, hello from Arya's Tale. And I want to change the subheading to say something else. I want it to say, purchase Arya's Tale TCG tokens. Cool. Really TCG cards. The tokens thing is going to be temporary. Purchase Arya's Tale TCG cards. So let's see. Sign in or join now to make a purchase. I really don't need that paragraph. Good, this is looking really simple, isn't it? Good. Simple is good. So sign in or join now to make a purchase. I kind of want like a little more top margin, but whatever. Sign in or join now to make a purchase. Okay, so I sign in. Now it brings me back here. And now what I want to see is that I can make a purchase. So I really do want to rip this session stuff out. because there's not even any, I don't even want any logged out text. I really just want this button. Let's keep it simple, eh? So it's just a little stateless component. Even simpler. Sign in or join now to make a purchase. Cool. I sign in. And it's still saying so. Right, because I didn't add the wrapper. So the wrapper goes up here now. If you are logged in, otherwise, show this. If you are logged in, you get a P tag. Nice job being logged in, bro. That's where we're going to put our Stripe button in the future. Okay. Great. I want to commit where I'm at, and then we can go get the Stripe things. So the feature here is basically like simplifying the page. Okay. So what I want to do first is imagine that Stripe is already working and it's going to submit the callback. And I want to do the post-processing. And I'll just have a button that just goes straight to the post-processing. So this will be a button like buy card button. Buy card button. Sure, why not? Let's see what Copilot is up to for now. Buy a card. Sure, that makes sense. Buy a card. All right. For $1. Copilot's like $1.99. All right, I see you. With the psychological tricks. No, it's just going to be $1. Buy a card for $1. So if you click it, we'll split out a click handler. On click, handle click. What's up? It's mad about the formatting somehow. Oh, because the response isn't closed. Okay. All right, so we have this click handler. On click, handle click. It's going to call an API endpoint to buy a card. we want to use our TRPC like React query thing. So the pseudocode is going to be like 1, call our own buy a card service. 2, our service calls Stripe. 3, user pays Stripe. 4, Stripe calls our service back. 5, our service calls the game server to give the card to the user. Sure, whatever. We need to inform the user is 6. 6 returns success to the client with card info. Okay, so that's basically the order of operations. And that state would be returned outside of this button. That state would be returned outside of this button because where are we going to render the card that you bought? It's going to be rendered up here. So here's use session. Oh, that's in the next auth itself. I want to like use new card. So yeah, instead of like having a different component watch for a state update, which we could do, but that feels like too weird. It's going to make more sense just to collapse these components, I think. So let me move my handle click up here. And this button down here. So we don't have a buy card button. Or we can, because it's nice to, this ternary just looks nice, but we can pass it in like this. And we'll call it handle buy card click. Handle buy card click. Okay. Let's type it. It's going to be a void return. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so here's the response. And for now, we just say like service is down or something. So I want a piece of state which is like buy card response and set buy card response. This could be its own component too. Rendered. We just say bought card. I don't like that name. I'm so like critical of names, and then I just don't come up with good ones anyway. So this is like view after, like user view after purchase. Card, what did I say? Bought card. I hate it so much. Buy card response. Buy card response renderer. I hate it so much. Gosh. Chat, please give me a better name, but I'm going to go with that. Buy card response renderer. Okay, so here's some educated guesses from Copilot. This is fine for now. It shouldn't be null. It shouldn't be null. Famous last words. It shouldn't be null. Set buy card response. I guess we'll make it null, yeah, as like the default state. That's fine. So this seems fine. The difference is that the API doesn't exist yet, but we can go ahead and make an API. Here, I'll do this. There was an error. There was an error. I know it's mad about the type because the type is like not complete. Because the type is going to come through the query side. So this is where we use one of those famous to-dos. To do, don't use any type. Okay, so you come down here. It's not null. It says that there's an error message. Yeah, we want to turn around the error message. I guess that's fine. You know, sometimes you want red text for your error message. So it's not capturing it's not re-rendering with the error. Quick reminder, if you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube or Twitch and see the full screen. I guess we could sanity check that the method is getting invoked at all, but I think it is. Let's clear out my console. Yes, we get to the hi message, which means that we're calling set by card response. We are calling it. So here's the by card response. Oh. Yeah, something weird is going on. All right, we'll go step by step. Let's just render it right here. Need to turn it to JSON. So this is like a decent React debugging technique, is if you get an object and you're having trouble, you can just stringify it. So we see that the object is coming through and it is getting set into state. You see how we determine that? But what's happening is it's being improperly utilized when it's passed into here. So let's take this little debugging paragraph and move it into our renderer. I'm going to bet that it is getting this far. Oh, I just missed the I just missed the bang. By a card, there was an error. All right, good. That's what we're looking for. Maybe instead of there was an error, I should say like card purchase not yet implemented. Okay, so I think this is in a committable state. So fee stubbed card purchase. Great, right about the hour mark and we got the stub in. Okay, so let's go to the API side. The way I'm going to get there is I'm going to find the index, which I know is using my API. Here we go. And then I just command click it and it jumps me over there. So now I can go to my file explorer. And this would basically be a new router, I think. So we have the art router, searchable image router, the post router. I don't know about this thing. It just came with, it just came with the framework. But I would have probably called it post router, but then it's like, what's the post? Like, what are we posting? I don't really know why it's called post router. I think maybe it's like assumed that you're going to be implementing a blog or something. That's okay. So basically we want a new router, I think. So we want the Stripe router. .ts. So I'm going to copy the art router over. Maybe the searchable image router is simpler. Let's see. I don't know that it's any simpler. We'll copy the art router over, and then we're going to rename it. This is the stripe router. And get rid of this module comment, which is not applicable in our case. Get random int is not useful in our case. Roll art style we don't need. Create random art prompt. And if you were wondering, like earlier in the stream, we talked about being able to roll art. Like this is how it works. It's just a list of art styles and modifier styles like watercolor, crayon, origami, and so on. And then it just like randomly picks one. Like that's how it works. Okay. Yeah, and basically we have a function which the query calls this function. Public procedure, get art roll, and we're going to want to say create stripe card purchase. I don't know. I'm going to call it that. Could be terrible. Create stripe card purchase. That's going to be the name on the API. And then do we have a different internal name? I typically do like to give them different interior names. So get art roll versus create random art prompt. I like to keep them distinct. So what are we expecting to happen here? What I'm expecting to happen is that the user is going to be able to actually send money to Stripe. So how do they do that? I think the UI needs to get forwarded. I think the UI needs to get forwarded. Otherwise, I'm not sure. So maybe it's like get Stripe URL, like get forwarding Stripe URL. Get Stripe purchase, like card purchase URL. Let's go for URI. No, we're going to go for URL. Get Stripe card purchase URL. So from the client perspective, what they're doing is a get. I want to get the Stripe card purchase URL. But from the backend perspective, what we're going to do is create Stripe card purchase URL. Because the backend's like, yeah, we can't just get it. We have to actually go create it. Okay, cool. This works. So here, in that case, it should be a string, shouldn't it? And maybe it's a promise for a string. Cool. All right, so this is like a, I'm fake, bro. Is that, I don't even want to check if that's a real website. I don't even want to check. We'll go for stripe.com. This is like to do, get a real URL from Stripe, sure. Okay, so we have the Stripe router. Now what do we do with this art router? Export const. Did I export my Stripe router? Yeah. Art image post and Stripe. Okay, so this is the overall app router. This is the one that gets sent to the client. And so now get Stripe card purchase URL should be available to the client. So what's the syntax to get the response? Let me look on my, so we're just using like a reference code approach, right? Like whenever you forget somewhere else did it similar, look it up. It's gonna be like this. I don't know that we need to refetch. Let's see. When would we need to refetch? Handle roll click. So this is our buy card data. So we've done the call our own buy a card service. And we are not using an any type anymore. So can I pass a value to refetch? Yeah, I guess I can do refetch options. So I think that's what I'm going to want to do. So we will basically call this buy card data. I want to skip out of it. I don't want to call it on the initial load. So maybe I'm different from the art roll use case that way. Refetch on window focus is false. Refetch on window focus is false. So is there like a refetch, skip initial refetch option? I think there should be. Who else do I have where I'm using this query? My homepage. Make sure to tap the screen to give it some likes if you're enjoying the stream. That way the algorithm knows to send it around. Okay, so here, use query, we're passing it this object and it's empty. I mean, the easy thing to do would just be to like send undefined to the server, and the server's like, oh, if you're undefined, like reply with like continue or whatever. That would be the easy solution here, but a better solution would be like we just don't even call the server. So React query, this is where I'm going to have to actually look at some docs, or I could do Google or ChatGPT or whatever. React query, skip initial call. When you provide initial data, the query will skip the initial fetch and use the provided data instead. Cool. Now we're using TRPC. Oh, oops, sorry, I thought we were using React query. So we're using TRPC. skip token. Well, this is weird because it's TRPC, but we're using skip token from React Query. I don't totally understand the relation between those two. Okay, interesting. So the query has a skip token, basically. That's interesting. Interesting way to do that. Yeah, I guess this is what I want to do. Skip token. Huh, I haven't used that before. All right, let's do it. So we come over here. And what I want to do is like call the API when the user clicks the button, but don't call it on page load. Okay. So refetch on window focus is going to be false, and skip token just pass it like that. I wonder if I have a wrong version. All right, let's check my version. So I'm on 1043. And what about my lock? On 1043 there as well. Okay. So we could upgrade. So I could upgrade my versions. I don't know what side effects that would have. Let's see if I can look for an alternative to skip token first. There's a lot of inference going on here. So we're using this refetch property. I don't know exactly where it lives. Nope, this is too messy. This is not a good way to search. All right, let's try GPT-4. I'm using TRPC with the following query. I would like to avoid calling the server on page load. How can I do this? Great. Much easier than sorting through the documentation, eh? Let's see if this works. Nice. That's good. So it won't call it over and over. Okay. So is enabled is going to default to false. Set is enabled whenever we buy card data. So handle buy card click will set is enabled true and refetch. I like to use the React prefix so that I know where my hooks are coming from. So buy card data does not exist over there. Whoa, bummer. And this is going to be is buy card data loading. This is, does bycard data have error? I can call it is bycard data error. That doesn't bother me too much because is error is the idiom. So what data do I pass to the renderer? I guess I can pass all three to the renderer. Yeah, that's fine. One, two, three, and then these will get moved into the renderer where they sort of basically belong. How do I want to do this? I'll do duplicating. I'll duplicate it instead of. I was thinking about making a content variable that includes the content and kind of dries up the div mt4 because we're going to repeat div mt4, but I'd rather just repeat it. That's fine. So if the response is empty, I don't know if the loading thing, is it empty when it's loading? Like, I don't know. Okay, so if it's loading, we say loading. And we can go ahead and make a type at this point. Go up to the top for this. These should be type, eh? It's not const. So if we go into the API, this thing is going to return a string. Cool. So if there's no response, we will return null. And what I'd really like to do there is say if the response is null, return null. Because you could have an empty string, technically, since the thing returns a string. I don't really want an empty string either, though, do I? But at least I would continue into the loading or error states. Okay. So if there's an error, or if there's not a response at this point, or if there's not, or there is a response with an error message. Okay, so let's not just return a string literal. Let's do URL. So this can say URL, which is a string, or error message, which is a string. Okay, looks good. Any questions? No? So here, if it's loading, we'll say loading. If there are any of these errors, cool. We'll either use the message provided, or this will be sort of our default message. And then if we're not loading, and if we are not errors or anything, then we come down here and we have the URL. I'm going to comment this bit. I got this URL, but it's kind of sus, right? buy card response dot URL. All right, cool. So this is looking pretty good. Why are these complaining? Buy card data does not exist on this thing. Get art roll use query. Oh, I'm not allowed to rename them, eh? Okay. I'm going to anyway. So let's do these. Data is by card data, is loading, is by card data loading, and is error. Okay. It just wanted me to alias them. Okay, so I can't refer to them in order, right? That makes sense. Oh, you're using ShadCN now. Last time I was here is probably 4 months ago. What's up? Welcome back. Broken Skates, good to see you. Yeah, I'm using ShadCN. I don't think this page uses it, but this application does. String or undefined is not assignable. That's okay. So let's move the type to the server. Type by card response. And this is why TypeScript is so nice, because I can just define it in one place and it'll pass through. URL error message or undefined. So I'm just going to put this here. And then I'm going to grab this and put it on the server. I think I did this with the art router too. Let me double check. Oh, I guess the response is primitive here. What about another router? Give the video some likes if you're enjoying it. That will help the algorithm send it around to other folks. Here, the response is also primitive. Here's a non-primitive. Get latest. Yeah, I think that one flows through without need of an object. So we do need an object in our case. Whoa, Uber Eats just hit me with the small plates coupon. That's so rude. I'm in the middle of a stream, bro. I might have to take them up on that. Okay, so anyway, we're promising one of these things now. Do I need to export it? I don't know. Fuck it. I mean, I'm going to. Like, I don't know that I need to do that, but whatever. I could potentially do like a result value type on. I could do like a infer the result value type, but then it's just like an extra step, right? Import type, right? Ceiling fans joined. That's cool. Are you just a ceiling fan or what? So now I have this. That's looking good. Everybody's happy. All right, let's go see what the UI is doing now. First thing, I want to make sure that it does not call the server on page load. So I'm going to open up network, clear the logs, just refresh the page. Oh, and we're in permanent loading state. That's dope. I'll figure out that in a second. The first thing I want to do is make sure that it didn't call my API, which I don't think it did. Well, here's the session API. Good, that's fine. So I'm going to click the session button, and I want it to call the API, and then I want it to give me that URL, the fake one. Okay. Look, so now it called my Stripe, get Stripe result. We got the thing, got that thing on that thing with the thing. That's looking good. And then over here, card purchase to do. Now I need to figure out how to forward you to Stripe. I got this URL, but it's kind of sus, right? Stripe.com. You've been here an hour and a half, and that's what you get. But that is what I expected. So we're on the right track. We need to figure out this permanent loading thing, and then we'll pause, and I guess we'll do a part 2 of the video. But we're getting to a place, right, where you can see that as a user on the RESTL website, I come over, I click the button, it's going to take me over to Stripe, and I'm going to give $1, and then I'll ultimately come back and I'll get my token. Our approach here, and what's mostly done, is let's do all the surrounding logic except for the actual forwarding and callback of Stripe. That will be the last piece. So we're no problems in the design, actually. It's just going to take more than an hour and a half to integrate Stripe. Who'd have thought? Let's fix up this loading, and then we'll close. And then, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Hope you've been liking it. And you can follow for part 2, where we will actually get into replacing this like sus fake URL with like a real forwarding URL. And I'll double check between streams, but I think the approach is that I need to like forward you there, and then when I forward you, I'll give you a callback. You'll pay on Stripe. Stripe will forward you to the callback, which is going to be bring you back here. And I think that's how you're going to get to like a purchased page. Whether I make that this page and then I like read a token that's like, okay, they purchased. That's one approach, or maybe it's going to be a whole different page, like a store/purchased. I think either of those are viable options. Drop a comment if you care. The purchased page is nice for its own reasons, right? Like you could do a receipt if you want to. I don't really need to. I don't really plan on it. But like in different apps, it's nice to have your own landing page for that, because you can do a receipt. You can also do like a cool image, like a party image, like woohoo, like good job buying my thing. Like, so there's a bit of like user delight that you can provoke that way. So there's really good reasons to do a purchase landing page. But then there's also something nice about this, which is it's a familiar place. Like you've been here and you get that feeling that you closed the loop. And also there's the opportunity to click that button again. So I'll stew on it. I could go between either of those. Even if you have the purchased page, in theory, that page could allow you to purchase again. But then it just becomes like really similar to this page, right? Because like, then you just do your purchase loop over there instead of over here. But you do get the cool picture, like if there's going to be a purchase picture, but you can also do a purchase picture here. Whatever, I'll stew on it. Let me know if you have thoughts. I can see pros on both sides. The only con that I really see is that I would be making like a potentially really similar page. But maybe I can extract some common components. Anyway, we got 2 options, and I'm going to take some time to think about it. So here, when I refresh, I want to get out of the permanent loading state. So why am I in a permanent loading state? Let me get rid of this code comment as well. If buy card data is loading, is true by default, for real? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. You know what? When I use this query, because I told it don't be enabled, it might be loading forever. Like that might be what's going on under the hood. So I will directly pass the enabled. I'll directly pass the enabled indicator to get through this. Is renderer enabled? So if the query is disabled, then the renderer is disabled. That's the rule I'm adding now. Keep it in alphabetical order. I guess I messed that up by putting the L before the E. We can fix that. Everything can be fixed in coding. That had an asterisk on it. A lot of things can be fixed in coding. I think that's more accurate. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, right? So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. We have the is renderer enabled, no TS errors. And we're just explicitly saying, like, look, if homie never clicked the button, return null. Good, and we got the quick loading. That's what we want to see, right? Dope. Okay. Well, I consider this a paused state. We're not done, right? We need to really implement Stripe, but this is a really good place to commit and wrap the stream. So the feature here is that we made the Stripe router, basically. Thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you next time. Hope you'll follow the page and send it to a friend if you have a friend who already codes and wants to join in the community, or they don't yet code, but they're coding curious. This is the right place. And let me give you one more plug for both Arya's Tale as well as the bigger community. So Arya's Tale is like the pet project of the community. It's like a fun game kind of thing and a narrative. But the real project, or like the real community, is Latterly. Like this is the actual learn to code community. So Arya's Tale is like a fun game. It's like an open source project that the community is building. Does that make sense? But the actual like coding community is latterly.io. And so there's a checklist here. You can sign up for free. This is also open source. Everything is open source. And you can come over here and get a step-by-step checklist about how to learn to code. And again, literally join the community. Like there's a Discord is what I'm talking about. So pull up, it'll be good to see you. As well as like following Twitch or YouTube or whatever. But more than that, join the Discord and come say hi. You know, that's like where I feel like the real community happens. You know what I mean? Renergy, thanks for the likes. Blaze Labs, cool. I'll join. Was good watching. Thanks so much.